Yo, what's going on, YouTubers? I did this video because it honestly really got to me. The case itself was bad enough, honestly, as a standalone case, but in the context of what happened with the Trayvon Martin case, I felt like this one was especially heinous in the inconsistency in which the state of Florida applies its stand your ground law. So basically, to kind of, I guess, preview it for you, there's a girl named MARISSA Alexander, and she was attempting to use the stand your ground law like George Zimmerman used the stand your ground law. But of course, when she tried to use it, as of right now, it's not working. They've denied it, showed their willingness not to give her justice, or from what it sounds like from the video that's coming up, at least a fair trial. So I wanted to kind of look at this video and make a couple of quick comments on it. First and foremost is, to me, just a gross inconsistency in which the stand your ground law is applied in the Trayvon Martin case, but in MARISSA Alexander's case, for some reason or the other, it's not a valid defense. We're going to watch this video, and at its conclusion, I'll be back to offer some of my opinions, whatever you want to call it, my feedback on this particular case. But like I said, I really felt like I needed to touch on this one because it's such a blatant case of hypocrisy in this stand your ground law, which is a joke in the first place. So here we go.
In the jail hallway in handcuffs, MARISSA Alexander is facing 20 years behind bars, convicted of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. She says she was defending herself, standing her ground, from a husband who had been arrested before on charges of abusing her.
He was arrested for doing what to you?
He choked me. He pushed me forcefully into the tub. He pushed me so hard into the closet that I hit my head against the wall and I kind of passed out for a second. He pushed me so hard into the closet that I hit my head against the wall and I kind of passed out for a second.
Her husband received probation after that incident. Months later, Alexander says she was in the bathroom at their home here in Jacksonville, Florida, when her husband started pounding on the door. She says he was in a jealous rage over text messages on her cell phone.
He managed to get the door open, and that's when he strangled me. He put his hands around my neck.
Alexander got away from her husband and then made a fateful decision. She could have run out the front door and escaped. Instead, she ran into the garage, but says she did not have her car keys and the garage door was stuck. So instead, she grabbed her gun she kept in this garage.
And what did you think you were going to do with it?
I thought that I was going to have to protect myself.
Were you thinking you might have to shoot her?
Yeah, I did. If it came to that, he saw my weapon at my side. And when he saw it, he was even more upset, and that's when he threatened to kill me.
But how is he going to kill you if you're the one with the gun?
I agree. I thought it was crazy, too.
But why didn't you run out the door then?
There was no other way to get out the door. He was right there.
So what if you would have run around him to go out the door? Your life would have been easier today if you did that.
Yeah, but the law states I don't have to.
The law she's talking about is the controversial stand your ground law. Instead of running, she did what she thought was allowed by law. She believed she stood her ground and fired the gun into the wall. Nobody was hurt. And fired the gun into the wall. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. But it was enough to scare her husband, Rico Gray, and he left the house with his 2 young children from a previous relationship. Alexander was safe from her husband, but not from the law. She was arrested, her stand your ground defense rejected, and found guilty by a jury. MARISSA Alexander's husband, Rico Gray, agreed to do an on-camera interview with us to counter his wife's allegations. But a few hours later, he made the decision not to do the interview, claiming that going on camera would put his life in danger. However, later, he sent us an email saying he would do an interview if he got paid, which CNN does not do. But he has already said quite a bit. During a deposition with a prosecutor from the Office of State Attorney Angela Corey and a defense attorney for his wife, Rico Gray acknowledged hitting his wife in the past and said this about the shooting incident, quote, "If my kids weren't there, I knew I probably would have tried to take the gun from her. I probably would have put my hand on her." Marissa Alexander's attorney then asked the husband what he meant about putting his hand on her, and Rico Gray responded, "Probably hit her. I got 5 baby mamas, and I put my hands on every last one of them except for one."
I believe when he threatened to kill me, that's what he was going to do. That's exactly what he intended to do. And had I not discharged my weapon at that point, I would not be here.
But later, at a court hearing to determine whether Marissa Alexander should get immunity based on the stand your ground law, Rico Gray changed his story, saying he lied repeatedly in the deposition to protect his wife, claiming he did not threaten to kill her, and testifying, quote, "I begged and pleaded for my life when she had the gun." The jury deliberated for 12 minutes before convicting her. The jury deliberated for 12 minutes before convicting her. The jury deliberated for 12 minutes before convicting her. The Jacksonville NAACP wrote a letter to the trial judge saying Marissa Alexander may not have received justice because of her gender, race, or economic status. Some African-American news websites are saying much the same thing, that if Marissa had been white, her stand-your-ground defense would have been accepted, and she wouldn't be facing 20 years in prison. But Alexander will not say if she agrees with that possibility.
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm uncomfortable answering that.
For now, she sits in the city jail, awaiting her sentencing scheduled for next week. She had a baby girl with Rico Gray almost 2 years ago, but she only sees her child in photographs. That's because Rico Gray has custody. He's considered the victim, his wife the criminal.
This is my life I'm fighting for. This is my life. And it's my life, and it's not entertainment. It is my life.
The 20-year sentence is a mandatory 20 years, meaning no chance of parole. No chance of parole. No chance of parole. Gary Tucker, CNN, Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, I'm back. Honestly, after watching it again, I feel like I almost don't need to say anything, but of course there are your people out there who could not identify the color red if an apple was in their face. So I'm back on here to point out a couple of obvious things. Number one, as far as the court system, I really thought that, or it would seem as though they would have looked at this man's kind of statements where he talked about how he put his hands on all 5 of his baby mamas except one. I guess that was the special one. So we're ignoring his history and how it would apply to a situation where Ms. Alexander was in a situation where she had to defend herself. So I'm going to chalk that up to, I don't want to say incompetence, because I honestly believe if this was a white person, a white lady that we were talking about, it wouldn't happen. So it's not incompetent, it's a choice. Also, the stand your ground law, I really think that they should just throw it in the garbage, because it was ridiculous just with the Trayvon Martin situation, but now it's utterly ridiculous. They don't even know how to apply it, where it applies. The consistency in which they applied is a joke. Overall, stand your ground needs to be thrown on the ground, trampled on, and recycled, because it's a garbage piece of legislation. You frighten me, I should shoot you. It essentially sums it up. Oh, unless you're black, then you go to jail. Anyway, now I didn't mention this before because I wanted you guys to hear it for yourselves. She didn't even shoot him. She didn't hurt him. She didn't shoot him. There was no contact made. She shot a warning shot for her life because she felt threatened. Now, Trayvon Martin, as you all know, he's no longer with us. He was taken away by George Zimmerman, deceased, shot, gone, never coming back. But somehow, not only does the stand your ground case work in George Zimmerman's favor, he also got an awful lot of time, a lot of free time to himself, about a month, and then got granted bail, so some more free time. So Again, I'm not seeing how this law is being applied uniformly, but then again, I'm not surprised because usually it's been a story where laws mean one thing for other people, but for black people, or whatever term you want to use for black people, it's applied differently. It's really not anything new. I'm not really surprised. However, it's just not, it's not something that I feel like I'm getting used to, and I don't think I should. To put a stamp on it, they deliberated for 12 minutes, which to me is a big FU, Marissa. I don't know if those were a jury of her peers. Maybe not. I doubt it. 12-minute deliberation to me is a joke. Talking about a lady's life, and 12 minutes they made their decision. Again, a joke. So, case is a joke. The system and its numerous examples of situations like this. Won't get into all those right now. Maybe at a later time, but it's a complete joke. And finally, the thing that really aggravated me about this, and I don't hold it against Marissa, when they asked her about the race question, she didn't feel comfortable answering it. And I'm touching on this mainly because it's my view, thought, and observation that it seems that we are now trained, scared, whatever you want to call it, not to use the R word, race, racism, etc. I noticed it in the Trayvon Martin case too. His family, they really didn't want to talk about the race aspect. And I see it again here. She didn't want to talk about the race aspect. And honestly, I see it a lot, and I notice it a lot. And I find it interesting, but also unsettling, because I don't think that we should hesitate to call something out for what it is. The homosexuals, they call out what they believe is not fair. You got immigrants, illegal immigrants, talking about what's not fair. I mean, seriously, you got, of course, Jews always saying something is anti-Semitic, but for us, for some reason, we are scared, trained, etc. Whatever it is, we're trained not to say anything about race. Well, scratch that. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. I'm not trained. It's race. It's racism. This has got racism written all over it. This lady was white. She'd be free. Rico would be in jail. It wouldn't be Rico. His name would be Richard or something. And I wouldn't even be making this video. However, she wasn't white. She was black. So therefore, the law is not applied uniformly. So now this glasses-wearing, crying mother of, I'm sorry, I didn't even get how many children there were, 2 or 3. She's looking at a 20-year jail term without the possibility of parole. Now, even for people who are not overly concerned about this, you should be, and this is why. If this is the direction that the law is going, we're going to have the good people in jail and the bad people out to wreak havoc. And I think that should make anybody feel unsettled. Anyway, like I said, I want to hit on this story. Leave me a comment if you want. That's really all I got. Peace out. Till next time.